You're going to withdraw your forces that don't belong here, aren't you? Milosevic says. There are no such forces.
Dhjetë vjet më parë, puna si gazetar e solli Marc Perry nga Anglia në Kosovë, për të cilën kishte dëgjuar vetëm nga lajmet e luftës në atë kohë. Me librin e tij të ri dokumentar War in Their Own Words, Perry sjell nga afër bisedat origjinale private të udhëheqësve perëndimor para dhe gjatë bombardimeve të NATO-s.
Well, I first heard about Kosovo during the Kosovo War when I saw the images of the refugees leaving, and I remember being very emotionally moved by that. But I didn't really have an opinion about people here until I arrived. People expected me to have an opinion, but when you live outside of Kosovo, Kosovo doesn't exist. It's just some vague place on the map that nobody really knows where it is. About 8 years ago, I had the idea for the book. And my original idea was to interview the actual people involved in the war. But that would have taken quite perhaps a substantial budget and some backing. And then I woke up one morning recently realizing that I'd already gathered lots of information, and it was the words of these people, of Blair, of Clinton, of Yeltsin, and that I already had the information, I just needed to put it together.
Qasja në arkivat shtetërore në dokumente të deklasifikuara britanike solli në jetë për mbledhjen e intervistave dhe letrave origjinale mes figurave të rëndësishme për Kosovën, gjatë zhvillimeve njëvjeçare në vend.
The first lot of information I got comes from the Clinton archives, and the second information comes from interviews that are widely available. And the third information comes from the British National Archives, because information is released after 20 years, after 40 years, after 60 years. So I went to the National Archive and I was holding the letters that Yeltsin sent to Blair, or Blair sent to his commanders, the actual letters with the actual signatures. The people in the book are Clinton and Blair at the center of it, and around them Holbrooke, Madeleine Albright, Wesley Clark, some British ministers, some Mike Jackson, all people who are very, very renowned and famous here in Kosovo. And I chose them because people will know about them. These are leading figures. Based the book chronologically, so the documents run from more or less June to June and a little bit more through to September of 98, 99. And they're arranged chronologically, so that's what governed me. Anything outside of that, I rejected. I rejected a lot of material. I made the book small because I wanted people to read it. If it was all of the documents, it would be huge. I didn't want to hide any of the realities, but it's also a very positive story, you know. You've got Thatcher and Clinton at the end of the war, you know, talking very, very positively together. You've got two leaders in Clinton and Blair who set out what they wanted to do and achieved it. So it's not all about the horrors of war. It certainly deals with the horrors of war, but there's light in here as well, you know.
Libri tashmë është në procesin e përkthimit në gjuhën shqipe me titullin Lufta në fjalët e tyre.
The title was easy because I've put this together, but it's not my words, it's not my opinion. I've written a little introduction, it's their actual words. Their actual words. I'm being helped by a Kosovo-Albanian journalist who's translating it into Albanian. And it's vital that it's in Albanian, especially because lots of the people of the Generation War and before the generation of the war, they'll speak less English. So friends of mine who don't speak English will have an opportunity to read the actual words of the people who had their concerns at heart.
Suksesi I madh që libri ka arritur edhe jashtë Kosovës ka rezultuar në njohjen më të mirë të historisë së luftës në vendin tonë nga ndërkombëtarët.
It's been sold throughout Europe, especially amongst the diaspora, and your diplomats are very interested in it. In fact, one diplomat said there should be, compulsory reading for every diplomat. The Croatian embassy are involved, the British embassy have it. It's really made for academics and diplomats and military people, and those people who are really interested in the details of the war. It can be bought online via my website, marcperry.co.uk, and I'll send it to anywhere in Kosovo, anywhere in Europe. I'm kind of the shop as well as the author. And it can also be bought in the pub, in the beer garden, but it's not for sale in shops. Yeah. The Albanian version will be. When the Albanian version comes out, that will be available in shops.
Edhim shumë